Let's get it. Let's get it in, y'all. Wake and bake. Wake and bake. Let's go. Salute everybody in the building early. We ain't immune. What up? Buck City, APBT Radio. APBT Radio family. Hey man, salute everybody that support. Petty Rob, I see you, brother. See you, brother. Havoc, what up? Salute. Got a little something today. Superman Dre, what up? Man, glad y'all could pull up. Glad y'all able to pull up. See. Okay, Michigan. Michigan in the building. Salute. Salute the chat. Smash that like button when you come in. Got a show for you. Got a show for you. Gonna get it in. We're gonna get it in, man. Let's get a few more in here. Let's get a few more in here, damn it. We on the What the Hell giving you bonus. Make sure you guys go like all them other videos. We're trying to just grow the platform as a whole. We're always gonna cater to the Bulldog community. Don't worry about that. But the support as a whole is I'm gonna be dropping a whole bunch of quick content. You know, got plans and deadlines and goals, and you know. They say a plan without a deadline is just a dream. And if you ain't smoking pink runts, you smoking med. Shots fired. Can you pick the best puppy at 6 to 8 weeks? Or is it just a gamble? We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this one. You know? On this beautiful day. Six to 8 weeks. I mean, let's just be honest, man. That's pretty damn young. That's pretty damn young for a dog to be knowing all of that, right? Right. But you can make some good guesses. I don't know like the exact puppy. Let's say it's a litter of 7. Of course, if you get more than one pick, that'll help it out a lot. But in a consistent litter where the dogs are looking consistent like they're supposed to, I think when it's all over the place, when the genetics are all over the place, you don't really know what's going on, then it can be really hard, right? To try to pinpoint that puppy. And if we want to talk about historical purposes, educational historical purposes, um, they would then have to roll those dogs, match those dogs, right? They would have to roll them, match them. They would have to see how that dog grew up and paired up against other, back in the day, dogs, right? 1975. We're talking historical, not glamorizing, not romanticizing over what happened back in the day, but just reflecting and just running up our numbers. Right. Mike Dan, I see you, brother. So that best puppy. What's up, y'all? Yeah, we smoking. We smoking back here. I don't smoke on the Buck City Reloaded. We ain't on the Buck City Reloaded. Feel me? It's the what the hell. We do what the fuck we want to do over here. You dig? If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. Feel me? I'm done. Well, I never did. I never did try to cater to nobody when it came to my content, when it came to me doing what the fuck I want to do, bruh. You know? That's the thing. See, if you like what the fuck I want to do, we're gonna get along just fine. You know? So nah, we up in here, man. Salute. Support the channel. The Cash App's right there. You dig? We even got the. Let me see. I even got this up there.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To the rest that ever took the stand.
That part, man. That part. I didn't have it up there yesterday, but I got it up there today. Let me see. Yes, sir. So anyway, picking out that puppy, that could be a difficult task. I mean, let's just keep it 1,000. You got a solid litter, 7, 8 puppies. Let's say you got like 5 males, and 3 bitches. That's gonna be hard because for one, you don't know if the better one was gonna be a male or a female. So you automatically you're decreasing your chance right there because and certain litters you might think that a male is better. Certain litters you might think that the female is better. You know, um, it's all relevant. It's all relevant. A lot of times, if you got a male and a female and they're really good, you'll never really know. It's kind of hard to know who is better. Just like if you got males and they had different sizes, like if one was a 32-pound dog condition and then another one was a 48-pound dog condition, same litter, right? So that would ultimately play into the they'll factor in, right? And you got all these males, you got 5 males in the litter. And you could take a wild guess. You could take a wild guess and probably get up there. Your percentages. If you're picking out the best puppy and you got that eye, you're able to develop that eye and really know what to look for. Of course, some of it's luck. Some people's gonna get lucky. Oh, I picked the best one. I did that one time. There was a litter and a guy kept them till they was about 6 months old. And you see, the dogs were 6 months old. And when I got there, he had 4 of them in one cage, and he had 4 of them in another cage. And I could get one out of that cage. You know, there were 2 females and 2 males in the other cage, and then there was 4 males in that cage. And me and my partner went out there. He liked them. He liked the litter. He seen me getting one. He was like, "Man, front me some bread, man. I got you when we get back to the hood." I was like, "Man, could we get?" I think we were paying about 800 for the dogs. Um, Good litter. It was that Burns dog I got, and we were like, "Man, see if we can get 2 for 12." Oh boy, buddy came back out, gave us some water, and you know what I'm saying, we was kicking it and just chilling it, chopping it up. And then he was like, "Man," he gave us the 2 for the 12, you know. But we had to pick out of the 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 pen with the 4 males in there though. It was obvious it's 6 months. This guy took his time to look at the puppies from when they were born, from way past 6 to 8 weeks. We're talking about 6 months here, right? He had all that time, and based on personality and different things and dominance, and that could always change over time. So he gets we grab our 2. He's hugging those over there. We got to pick out of these 4. I grabbed one. I think I grabbed the biggest one in there. I was like, "Fuck it, I want a big one. I want a big dog. I know those dogs have potential to be kind of big." So I was like, "Shit, let me get a big one." Then my partner was like, because he was always competing with me, so he wanted a comparable size one too. You know. Now that I remember, mine ended up outgrowing his. His name was Pull. My guy, he made the dumbest names for the dogs. You know, dumb. I never could understand where he got his names from. You know, but that was my boy, man. I ended up getting Burns, and we actually kept Burns and Poole at the same spot for, till they was about maybe 10 months, 9, 10 months, about 9 months. And then I had a partner named Burns, and I ended up putting Burns at Burns's house. He put it at his auntie's house. Uh, no matter of fact, it was his brother's house. That was his brother's house, and we put it in the backyard and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I would check on him every couple of weeks, and then it was like 6 months later. I went over there because, we hadn't checked. Maybe the winter set in, I wasn't on that side or whatever. We was just grinding in the hood or, doing whatever we was doing. So, shit. So so we finally went over there. It was a nice day, spring setting in, you know what I'm saying? It might have been about May. I remember the leaves and shit, the little flowers, cherry blossoms and all, you know what I'm saying? So it might have been April or something, right? April or May. And I went in the backyard and I saw this motherfucker. This is the first time I seen him in a while. And he was always a little calm, cool little dude, but now, this dude's looking like a monster now. You know what I'm saying? He's young still, but that dude was about 14 months old. He was starting to come into his manhood. You know, he was a little monster. You know, uh, and so yeah, man. He ended up being way better than Poole. My partner was kind of hot, and that's pretty much the story. And so basically, old boy grabbed that other dog, not knowing that he didn't get even though he picked four at like 6 months old, he really couldn't pinpoint what was the best one. Like if that was a great lesson on can you really pick the puppy? I think your percentages could be high, but I think you can still be off depending on, certain things that factor in. Have you ever built a yard around one special dog that changed everything? Obviously, this person ain't privy to the channel, because if they know Michael Myers, I definitely built a whole lot of things off of a particular dog, and had a lot of success doing it. A lot of people still doing it. They still running that blood. They're having success. That's like a everyday diet. It's like a multivitamin. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, they got it in the sauce. We, Michael Myers, he might not get all the respect that he should, and like some of these old dogs, and all of this. But I'm telling you, as a person that been in these dogs, around good dogs for over 30 years, that's a long time. Uh, Over 25 with my own program, actually producing good dogs that I can go up on the database and look these dogs up and be like, okay, yeah, Red Boy in the third generation and shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been around a lot of dogs. So that's why I make those assessments. That's why I make those comparisons. That's why, you don't just talk out of your ass. You just don't. You just don't, bro. You know, jumping up on these platforms, bro. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I done been not discouraged because it's very hard to discourage me about anything, especially something that I believe in. If I'm gonna put my mind to it, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? But just the attachment to all the corny shit, bro. I just I never been a corny nigga. Never. You know? It's never one day in my mind, you know, and right now, the corny shit in the APBT community, it's in the dog community, period, but I gotta speak for the APBT community. And we might be the least, but bro, it's corny. Cornish hand. Can't do it, dog. Put them behind enemy lines. What up, brother? The Hazel Eyed Devil, what up? Salute everybody, man. Smash that like button. You know what it is, man. So now I built around Michael Myers. I thought he was producing exceptional dogs. His pedigree was exceptional. Um, you know, that lady doll stuff. You know, I've been having those dogs. I've been having lady doll dogs. Well, not lady doll, because they were coming off of different sisters, but let's say Mayday Dragon Lady dogs. Over 20 years, 25 years. That's a long time. You know, dogs coming down off of dogs, off of that particular strain of dogs. That's a long ass time, dog. The advantage of knowing what those dogs were back in the day and how blessed I am to be able to be around such great dogs is that when you start to look at your breeding program and you start to veer off, you start to drift off, you knowing the dogs, you knowing the traits, you knowing even the quirky ones, right? You knowing that. Somebody else might see a quirky one or one with a certain trait and think nothing of it or think down upon it. But they don't understand that, you know, this blood is, you know, different. It's special. So based on my network of people that had Michael Myers dogs directly off of Michael Myers, the ones that I directly had off of him, I had to make a business decision, man. That was a business decision because at the time I had studs, but they hadn't. Well, you know, a couple of them was nice, but they hadn't reached the pinnacle of what I would say, you know, worthy to be. You know, things are different. Sometimes, even today's age, you know, we breed things for certain reasons. So they didn't quite yet reach the breeding expectation. You know, I wanted it to be at 100, right? I wasn't 87s and, you know, all of this. I wasn't really going for that. So, I was surfing out and trying to put my bitches and create, you know, paying stud fees and whatnot. Like I say on this channel all the time, you know, it's a good way to build. And you know, let me see. I think CC's on me. I think I've been spotted. No, he might be sneaking. He's going to sneak around. CC's sneaking. Let me see. You know, so yeah, like I said, with times, whatever you doing, you know, whatever your expectations are for the dogs, whatever, you know what I'm saying, that could change. that could change dramatically. Circumstances change. But to breed, let's just say 5 different studs. That was definitely in the rim. I probably knocked about 3 of them down already. Stud fees and different things, trying to create good dogs, created good dogs with them, which kept my bitches in high regard too. I kept them in high regard because they were the ones that able to produce without Mike, right? So getting Michael Myers, that was a thing where instead of going out to stud, I felt like this dog was worthy or even more worthy than the other studs that I bred to, that I paid, out of pocket, transport fees, everything, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we'll just get this chef, move him in, right? Subtract a couple pieces, do things, and kind of build around them. It was definitely worth building around. But if that whole operation wouldn't have went the way it was, and some people, they could vouch. They know the process. They know, like, they were there, you know, throughout the whole process, So without without everything being lined up, I don't think that it probably would have worked out the way it did, you know. But it definitely was a good thing, man, you know, and something I would do again. But, it would have to be that special dog. So some people think, it's cap, or they think, it ain't that, you know what I'm saying? If dogs are special, they're special, bro. And at that time, I'm gonna be honest with you, financially, I was in a way better position, bro. I literally could have bought any dog in the world that I wanted. There wasn't, unless they were just a straight idiot and wouldn't sell it, like I could have bought any dog in the world at that time, bro. I'm telling you, I could have had any dog I wanted. This wasn't something you just stumble upon. This wasn't nothing. You know what I'm saying? I cashed out for, dogs. Basically, everybody that bred to Michael Myers, I tried to get my hands on them, right? I had my hands on them. They was in my yard for the most part, a lot of them. And if I didn't have you, I had one off of you and Michael Myers. It wasn't a game. It wasn't. We were playing for keeps, right? We were trying to make sure that this bloodline was the best bloodline. Why not have the bloodline that's in your yard right now, and you make the right steps to make it the best bloodline ever? Why not? It's crazy. So, and maybe I am crazy, you know, but we wasn't taking second fiddle to nothing, right? If we made a good dog, how many people do that? If we make a good dog, it didn't even have to be two. One good dog off of Michael Myers, whoever this bitch is, where that bitch at? Oh, they own her now? Let me call them motherfuckers. Hey man, what you guys doing with that bitch, man? Nah, we won't sell her for nothing. All right, would you take this? Shit. When you send in the transporter, come on, dog, bro. Like, what are we talking about? You know, all the way to Little Lynch, half brother, double bred Michael Myers dog. Lynch dog, double bred, half brother, keeping those lines tight. Did my own war pony breeding. I wasn't really worried about what other people were breeding and whatever they were doing. I did my own war pony breeding to get the prodigy. And he's the prodigy. What can I say? He's the prodigy. That was the plan. That's what we were talking about. Okay, we need to make one better than this, better than this, better than this, And when you check those boxes, we checked all the boxes, bro. And those dogs were specifically bred to breed with the Michael Myers dogs to go, it's like a chessboard. Those are knights and rooks, and you're not always going to be the king, you're not always going to be the queen, but you got bishops and rooks and pawns, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that part. You feel me? So, hey man, if you want to be like a mad scientist, it'll probably work in your favor, man. when you're building yards and doing your thing, because you're really in your bag. You're really in your bag. Let me see, this is a good one. This one right here, a good one. Let me see. Do you think modern breeders rely too much on papers instead of watching the dog themselves? Um, Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that because I see, this is what I see. I see a lot of people doing crosses that don't work. Let me say that again. You know, a lot of people are doing crosses that do not work. They're focused on the papers, right? And then they always make this excuse about how it's brewed and how that, this and that. It's always some type of excuse. And that's just plain and simple, bruh. You're trying to either be somebody else, somebody that you're not, or you're not paying attention, bruh. Because if you pay attention to the dogs, they'll tell you what breedings to do. They'll tell you what breedings not to do, right? So I don't know how far back they talking about when they say modern. I think a lot of old timers did the same thing. They just kept their dogs and kept the dog named Dean, bred him to Sparkle, and kept the bloodline going. Maybe took a hiccup, had to go get a dog from somebody else. That's why you'll see an old timer with a couple modern guys in there, and then they'll keep their blood. It's they're focused on, for the most part, the pedigrees, man, keeping them pedigrees together. Because it's only so many times, and I see breeders time and time again, they're repeating breedings that did not work out. I got these two dogs, I bred them, the offspring were below average, right? So what do? I'm gonna keep breeding it over and over. That let me know, like, wait a minute, they haven't put a cross in there. They haven't did this. I would run it with that. I would add a little bit of this to it. All it needs is a little bit of this. If they wouldn't have got rid of that dog, they could have bred that dog with this. You got to look at it like that, even with your own yard, right? It's a chess move. When you make that move, you got to look around, right? You pick up that chess piece, you gotta be looking around even before you touch the chess piece. You gotta look around and see everything that's gonna be positive about that breeding, everything that's gonna be negative about that breeding, right? Are we getting the same thing? Are we getting the same skin allergies? All of this stuff, all of these defects, the dogs, low energy, don't want to work, lazy, right? Dumb, one-dimensional. You get all these different traits. Over aggressive, people aggressive, and you guys with them bolio dogs, if they don't have the right temperament, bolio dogs are notorious for biting people, bruh. Right? Those are not the dogs that you want to be playing around with, letting them chew on your pants leg and stuff, bro. They're not. They're wired up different. They could be good. It could be but it could be dangerous if you're not careful. Bolio dog, they're notorious. So if you're not breeding it out, what are you doing? What are you really doing if you're not breeding that stuff out, right? Oh, you're just gonna keep it and stack bolio on top of bolio just to try to. It's a grift. Oh yeah, take this. You have to breed this to something else. Well, what if you bred it to get something else? Wait a minute. How can you sell me some stock that's supposed to be brood stock and supposed to be producing, if you haven't took that stock and produced something yourself, I can't. I can't, man. My brother Havoc with the super chat.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To them rats that ever took the stand, took your brother from you, never see him again. Make a meal and cash the fucking plan. Thanks for the super chat, we can run it again.
Havoc, my brother. Membership, 3 months. 3 months. Hey, appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. These cook-ups, don't worry. These cook-ups, they gonna be members only. I'm gonna probably buck him for about an hour, depending on, you know, how I get my roll on. And yeah, don't worry. Emmy James, appreciate you for your membership as well. What's that? Die by Newts. What up? Game Dog University. What up, brother? MK Knitfit. Salute. Terrence Gooch. What up, brother? Old School Original. What up? Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. What up? How far back in the pedigree do you think a breeder should actually study? Three generations, 5 generations, or more? Uh, Let me look at the wording. Do you think a breeder, right? We're talking about a breeder. We're talking about a breeder here, right? I think that standard's different. You know, historically speaking, if it was just a gamesman, you know, I wouldn't think nothing of it, bro. I wouldn't think nothing of it more than like 3 generations, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because 9 times out of 10, and those be the same dudes. They'll go to shows. You know, this 1975. They would go to shows and find winners at the show and try to buy them, right? Everybody knows that, right? So a lot of times they wasn't really worried about that. They would appreciate the way the dog was bred, but they wouldn't normally have a specific preference because they're to have a family of dogs, just like your family. You got some motherfuckers that's fucked up, right? You know what I'm saying? Some motherfuckers, you know, their attitude, you know, or whatever it is, you know, they don't get along with people. Some of them ain't smart. Some of them are extra smart. Some of them are not athletic. Some of them, you know, so when you're building a family of dogs, you got to understand that every dog is not going to be Hercules, bro. Straight up. Every dog's not going to be He-Man. Straight up. I'm gonna tell you that right off the muscle, you know. It ain't gonna be that. You know, every dog ain't gonna be He-Man, bruh. Mm-mm. You're gonna have dogs that play their position, serve their purpose. Every dog has their own purpose. Okay? That's what we're looking at right now. Right? Appreciate the support, y'all. Smash them likes. Smash them likes. Throw a dog a bone. You know. Every dog got its purpose. There might be a bitch on the yard. She might not be that much of a good specimen. She might not, she's probably not that good sometimes, right? But her DNA studying what she is, the potential that she brings to your yard or what she's already brought to your yard, right? Sometimes it's what have you done for me lately type of dogs. Like, what has that dog done for you lately? You know, if you can't say anything, because you could get over your head. You could just be out here just collecting shit just to be collecting shit, right? Check these messages. Salute, everybody. Right? Right. Oh, Hemi James. Hemi James. Oh, shit. Hold up. Yes, sir. Okay, so they must do that on the 21st. Because that's what it is, man. Everybody renew, you know what I'm saying? Get them memberships in, man. I appreciate it, my brother. Let me get some special things. I'm going to do one for the members too, but this is what I got up here for now.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To them rats that ever took the stand, took your brother from you, never see him again. Make $1 million, cast a fucking plan. Thanks for the super chat, we can run it again.
Yep, appreciate that membership, brother. Appreciate it. Yes, sir. So, you know, how far back in the pedigree? Yeah. You want to go back as far as you can, man. You want to know that those dogs are built to the maximum capacity, bro. Because at the end of the day, even if we talk about 1975, bro, nobody wanted to add some cur shit to their blood, and then let's say one generation they fine, good dogs, right? You do a couple breedings, good dogs. You know, if you would have did more, it probably would have exposed it, but you only did 2 breedings. You know, no big deal, right? The dogs are pretty good, right? Very few curs. Then you do another generation. It's decent. It's decent. But then all of a sudden, once you try to set up shop and you get to breeding these dogs and you talk about what dogs you got and what comes behind these dogs, now all of a sudden that cur gene wants to show up again. So now, you know, you got dogs, they can't even make it past 20 minutes historically. Right? You got to throw that historically on there. The fucking tree huggers. You know, them motherfuckers, they biting. They biting hard. You know, the damn tree huggers. You feel me? So, you get all this stuff that could pop back up in the generations, man. And that's what you don't want. see this one. That's what you don't want, man. That's the type of stuff you don't want. Yes, sir. Hey, man, smash that like. We waking and baking, man. Look. Man, we ain't in no particular topic. I'm just going through some topics. We talked a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Try to kind of break it up a little bit, give it a little bit of this. Um, you know, so studying is more than just knowing who the dogs were and that Baker Davis and you know what I'm saying. It's more to studying than that too. I think that's where we get fucked up too, right? Worried about what Baker Davis did, worried about, you know what I'm saying, with Ed Crenshaw and shit, bro. Listen, that doesn't mean shit in your dog today, buddy. It doesn't. That doesn't mean shit, only for conversation's sake. We still got people asking what blood crosses good with Mayday. Mayday's got thousands of variations of these dogs, man. We just can't say what goes good with Mayday. If you're still doing that, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be in last place. You can't do that. You got to get more specific. We need to be more specific. And when you go back in your generations, that's when you grow in time because it's not about what Schoolboy had way back in the day, right? We're not going off of that. We're going off of these two generations that I saw. We're going off these 4 generations that I saw with my own eyes. I put these dogs together. I made sure that these dogs were solid. So if there was any leaks and cracks, I made sure I called that shit out. And it wasn't about, I spent $2,500 on this bitch, so she's cold. I'ma keep her. But then this is historically. But this bitch for $600, she might be a bulldog, but you get rid of her or some shit, you know what I'm saying? But you don't get rid of this $2,500 cold motherfucker. But she gonna produce more cold dogs for you. But you think just because she produced one good one, you satisfied with that. And some dudes are satisfied with that. If you never had a girlfriend in your life and you get one, you're satisfied with anything she could be. She might be disrespectful, all kind of shit. You feel me? Hold up, brother. Hold up, man. This is some crazy shit, man, up in this chat, man. I tell you, this is some crazy shit. My brothers with the super chat, appreciate the support.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To them rats that ever took the stand, took your brother from, you never see him again. Make $1 million, cast a fucking plan. Thanks for the super chat, we can run it again.
Hey, man. The Hazel-Eyed Devil with the $20 holla, appreciate you, my brother. See, they gonna be hating again. they gonna be getting back hating, man. Come on now. We're gonna get this APBT radio popping all the way. Havoc with the $10 holla, appreciate you, my brother.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To them rats that ever took the stand, took your brother from you, never see him again. Make a meal and cash the fucking plan. Thanks for the super chat, we can run it again.
Hey, man. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the support. Smash the like button. Smash the like button. Let me see. He said keep going. He said keep going. Okay. Salute. Salute. Do you think some bloodlines get protected by reputation more than by actual performance? Absolutely. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Plenty of them. Dozens of them. Those traits have been dormant 5 generations ago. Hey, man, I can't. I can't. I just can't. I can't, fellas. I can't, man. Havoc with the $5 holla. Hey, appreciate you, my brother.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To them rats that ever took the stand, took your brother from you, never see him again. Make a meal and cash the fucking plan. Thanks for the super chat, we can run it again.
Hey, man, appreciate all the support on this Wake and Bake, man. Appreciate all the support, real support. Hey, that's what's up, man. Appreciate you, Havoc, Hazel Eye Devil, everybody with the memberships. Appreciate it, man. You know, it ain't. I mean, you know, we'll do it. We do these shows no matter what. We know this. We go hard. You remember when I did 100? I did 100 for 100 twice. Ran through 100. Wake. You know what I'm saying? Like with no or very little super chats and stuff. So I don't want people to think that it's just about that, but do know that the more support that we get, rather if you buying magazines, whatever you doing, man, it supports something that we're gonna continue to grow. We're not just like gonna get to a certain level and quit. Like we want to get to the level to where this monster keeps growing and growing and growing. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole objective. So I appreciate all the support, everybody that take their hard-earned money and you know, fuck with us, man. 'Cause that's what we do. We fuck with y'all. So yeah, now these bloodlines, man, they get protected. And some of them are decent, but and I won't say none on these. This would be if we was on Drink Champs, I'd just take a drink. It's like, nah, I'm not gonna answer that, man. You know, because you know, it be like that. But I will tell you this, these same dudes be still out here posing. And some of us, a lot of us new guys, we go to these yards and we worship this shit. We worship this dormant shit. Can't buy a bucket. He said, when I first started learning about the breed, It was a dog's name that caught my eye. Ever since, learned that it's the breeder's name. I got you. I got you. Yeah, man. No, you definitely got to pay attention to the breeder. I had a good question. It's a little controversial, a little piggybacking off of what we were on the other day. Let me see. Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot in there. I tell you that. It's a lot of them. So these bloodlines, man. Some people are doing it today. They got these dogs. They know those dogs are not up to par. They know, and that's what you're supposed to do. Back in the day, if you had a special dog, even way back in the 30s, 20s, all those black and white pictures, people they honored and respected quality. Of course, in every era you're gonna have your bullshit, but you had enough people that honored and respected quality enough to take their dog to breed back to a dog that made these certain dogs that are way far back in the pedigree that are able to be put together, and then now here we got today, and it's our job to keep those dogs together and not fuck up the bloodline, you know fuck up the breed in general. you know that's important. That's important, man. TBK APBT, salute, brother. To this lines of dogs and performing. That's the third generation. The pup. People talking dead dogs reputation. Yeah, I'm just saying. Once you get so far back, and then we talk about every dog like every dog was a good producer, bro. That let me know that you really gotta get into these dogs a little bit more. You got to spend more time with the dogs, and you got to go out there and experience more with the dogs, because every dog wasn't a good producer. If I could go back in 30 years ago, I wouldn't breed to every dog, right? So when somebody looks at a pedigree and they're just like, yeah, it has this in there, it has that in there, bro, what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean, bro? That don't mean nothing. A lot of those dogs, they were just average at best in producing. The unique thing about certain dogs and certain lines of dogs, that's why that dog keeps that name. It's because he's able to do it. There's no hype that can do that, because you just be a overhyped trash dog that everybody knows is trash because everybody has experienced it, because it's overhyped. Let that sink in, man. He said Bully Son is at the top of the rob list, changed my mind. Look, and them dogs, you know, dogs, one thing about it, because the APBT, of course, is going to be synonymous with the underworld and the betting and, all everything, but somebody fuck up and make a mistake with a good dog, they're still gonna be breeding that shit, bro. It don't matter. And yeah, you might not like it. You might be like, man, look, why would he do that? But he probably got plenty of reasons why he'll do that. Dozens, dozens of reasons. You know. Okay, we sliding in. We sliding in the home plate. He said, I'm a believer that breeding is a talent that everyone doesn't possess. To go to some work behind your yard. He said you gotta be some work behind your yard. Yeah, man. That's for real. That's for real, Mike Dan. You know? It's gotta be. Because I know a lot of guys, bro, and they produced a lot of good dogs, but they were more hit and a miss. And they had all the resources. Dudes had resources like a motherfucker. But just to put that together on a consistent basis and know and respect, it takes a lot of respect for the animal. You know, you're respecting that bloodline. I said it in the other joint. You know, you breed a cold bitch, you know, let's say back in the day, historically, you know, you respect that shit. That's a high honor. Because if it was some trash and she was cold, you wouldn't breed it. Right? And a lot of good dog men have. We hear it all the time. A lot of good dog men have. Or a dog that, let's say it's not cold, but let's say they don't know fully what's up with the dog. You know, that happens every day. And it's because you have respect for that animal. Can't make this shit up, dog. I put in my 10,000 hours. I been did that. I lapped that. I lapped it. I spent that probably out of state. Moving around, doing it moving, in traffic. You know, sliding in my 20s. You feel me? I couldn't stand being in my state for, if it's 2 months past and I ain't took a trip, oh man, that was like depressing for me. So we moved around. Shit that I wouldn't do today. I wouldn't do none of that shit today. It's too much time consuming, too much traffic. You know? Too much weirdo shit going on. Dudes glorifying snitches and shit. Talking about yo and what's going on and salute the chat and shit with snitches. Fuck that, man. This is a new age. This is a new age that we live in, brothers. Yeah, man. Right. Cultivate enough to develop that eye. For sure. You gotta cultivate enough to develop that eye for the fucking dogs. Not 2 litters. Then you motherfuckers think, man, what you trying to do, homie? You trying to insult my intelligence? You just got in this shit in COVID. Fuck you mean? You bred that dog at 9 months. I ain't even gonna say his name. Woo! Boy, I tell you. Boy. You know? Yes, sir. Let's get him, man. Big C, man. Let's get him. Paul Harris. Melee. All my guys. He said a lot of great dogs were stolen and never recovered. So fuck that game. Up to so like Buck City Kennels say niche not about what you put in the dog's blood. How you sustain it, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Let's get it, man. Smash that like, man. If you in here, smash it. It's a Saturday, springtime. You know, get those crops, man. Get them, get that ground ready. Get them crops. Put in that work. This is a time for you to build that muscle. Get up in there, man. Go grow some shit. Plant some shit. Teach the kids some shit, man. Take better interest in things in life. You'd be surprised, man. It'd be those interests that you got that later on in life, when you go down those troubled paths, a lot of times it's those little interests that you had when you was a kid that you fall back on. It's like, well, fuck it. What am I gonna do besides run the streets? And then it's like, shit, you was an artist, you was this, you was that. You already had different things. You like gardening, you like, what I'm saying? You had a little green thumb, right? So that could help them out, being in different environments, different working environments and stuff. So, man, get on out there, man. It's gonna be a good year. It's gonna be a lot of sun. It's gonna be a lot of heads needing to be on that swivel and watch out what's going on, because they coming. They waiting to snatch up another yard, and the snitch busters waiting to make videos about it. Ain't nobody trying to help. We don't got no channel that just tries to help motherfuckers, but we got motherfuckers that put you down, kick you while you're down. I ain't with that. I ain't with that, man. Don't kick a man while he's down, man. Especially if it's law enforcement type shit. Like if he really did something bad to the community, then yeah, I could see, fuck him up. But she just got in trouble with law enforcement, that's it. And knowing that they be lying their ass off and shit, and then, so what we gonna do? Try to capitalize off of that. That's sucker shit. This channel never aligns with sucker shit, bro. That's one thing I say that I never stop. And nah, we're not aligning with sucker shit, bro. Period. Never. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. So now that puppy at the 8-week shit, what you guys think, man? Yes or no? Can you pick the best puppy at 6 to 8 weeks? Let me know, man. Yes or no? That's an easy question, man. Everybody answer for me. Yes or no? 7 puppies. Let's say it's a litter of 7 puppies. Can you go in there at 6 to 8 weeks? And I know I'm gonna need to be at 8. Fuck that 6-week shit. I'm gonna need to be at 8 weeks. I'm not picking at 6 weeks. If that's all I got is 6 to 8 weeks, I'm picking at 8 weeks. Just to give me a little bit of more chance. But you tell me. You tell me what it is. You tell me. Hold up. Hold up. Big C, Big C. Big C with the $2 holler. Appreciate you, my brother.
I be thankful for the shit I got. Did some time for them dogs, but not them dudes I shot. All that money in the pot, you say it's not a lot. All that cap on them shows, man, it gotta stop. To the rest that ever took the stand, took your brother from you, never see him again. Make $1 million, cast a fucking plan. Thanks for the super chat, we can run it again.
Hey, man. Get that APBT magazine, man. Go on Amazon right now. Pick up that APBT magazine. Appreciate all the support that we've been getting on this channel. Big C, cracking is cracking. Buck the world. Hey, man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Get the magazine. This is volume 2. If you already got volume 2, I mean, if you was a collector, you definitely want to grab this. It's got a couple new articles in there. Cut Up Kennels. Cut Up Kennels is in there. Dark Star Bulldogs is in there. So there's a couple new articles in there. I think Dark Star is about a 3-page joint. Cut Up's probably a two-page joint. Good articles, man. Them joints is good. Plus it's got 80% of the original content that's in there. 90% of the original content. So you got all of that in there. Couple things are a little bit reformatted, just a little. We might have changed a little bit of something for it, but it's still that same volume 2 that we all love. New cover, of course. I threw El Patron inside of it, so he's probably like on the last page or something. That El Patron picture that was on the cover the first time. I got an important call, though. You know how we do, man. You guys be safe out there in these bulldog streets. Stay away from them busters. Stay away from them snitches and busters. And check them chain spots, man. Make sure them dogs is bowls and everything clean. I'm gonna be talking about cross-contamination. We're gonna do one on that, because just the contamination and the different things that we do with the dogs, we can alleviate a whole lot of stress and problems and going to the store buying all kind of stuff. If we do these certain things. So I'm gonna be touching on that. Volume 5, of course, got an article about it in there. Most of these lectures that we have, we're gonna be having articles about pretty much half of them. So you'll be able to get that APBT magazine and sit down and, some of this content you already been familiar with. Like, okay, yeah, we already chopped it up about that. You dig? So let me get to these calls. You know what these back streets do. Hit me up. You guys got my lines, everything. You guys know how to get a hold of me. And I got all the links to the magazines and everything you need to do. Just go to Amazon.com, type in APBT magazine, and